Hey everyone, and welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today we're tackling a question that you might think has like a really simple answer.
Yeah,
What does Earth actually look like?
right.
We're going to be using this awesome Vsauce video
Okay.
to kind of explore how limited our vision really is
Yeah.
and how that affects the way we see our planet.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all have that like iconic blue marble picture in our heads.
Right.
But
Like the deep
what
blue.
if that's just like scratching the surface?
Right.
Of what Earth really...
It's like assuming a photo of your house tells the whole story of what's happening inside.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this video really made me realize how much we rely on just this tiny sliver of all the light out there.
Well, it all comes down to the electromagnetic spectrum.
Okay.
We see red to violet,
Mm-hmm.
but on either side of that are wavelengths that we're totally blind to,
Right.
like ultraviolet or infrared.
I remember learning about that in science class, but I never really connected it back to like, well, seeing things.
Right.
So are you saying there's like an infrared version of Earth out there that we're just like totally missing?
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah, the video has this wild analogy.
Okay.
If you stretched the entire electromagnetic spectrum from New York to LA,
Okay.
the part we see would be like the width of a surgical mask.
No way.
That's so tiny.
It's a tiny, tiny sliver.
Okay, so what would Earth look like if we could see those other wavelengths?
Well, imagine Earth glowing in infrared,
Okay.
the warmest spots shining bright. That's how scientists study things like heat flow and weather patterns.
Oh, that's cool.
Or picture it shimmering with auroras at the poles.
Okay.
But in ultraviolet light.
Whoa.
It'd be a totally different kind of light show.
That's incredible. I actually have a way that we can all experience this a little bit at home.
Oh, really?
If you have your TV remote and your phone.
Oh, you're going to show them the infrared trick?
Yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah.
Point your phone camera at the tip of the remote and press any button.
Yeah.
You should see a light on your phone screen even though you can't see it with your eyes.
Right.
That's because your phone camera can detect infrared light.
Exactly.
Even though we can't.
Yep. It's just a fun way to visualize that there's a whole world of light out there
Cool.
beyond what we normally see.
Speaking of seeing things differently, the video also got me thinking about maps.
Okay.
I mean, we always see Earth with like north at the top,
Right.
but is there a reason for that, or is it just like convention?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The source actually makes a joke that maybe it's because early map makers were mostly from the northern hemisphere
Okay.
and they just equated up with better.
Okay. So south up maps are just as accurate.
Precisely.
They're just unfamiliar.
Yeah, and get this, even the famous blue marble photo
Mm-hmm.
was actually rotated by NASA
What?
to fit that north as a convention.
Wait, seriously? I never knew that.
It's wild.
That's crazy. It makes you realize how much our perception is shaped
Totally.
by things that we don't even question.
Absolutely. And it gets even more complex.
Yeah.
When you think about the challenge of representing a round Earth on a flat map.
Ah, yes, the map maker's dilemma.
Yeah.
I remember trying to flatten an orange peel as a kid and realizing it just doesn't work.
Right.
So how do they make maps?
They use something called map projections.
Okay.
And the most common one that you've probably seen is the Mercator projection.
Okay.
It's great for navigation because it keeps shapes pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But the trade-off is that it distorts size, especially near the poles.
Okay. How distorted are we talking? Give me an example.
Well, look at Greenland on a Mercator map.
Okay.
It looks about the same size as Africa, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, Africa is 14 times larger.
Whoa. I had no idea it was that skewed.
Yeah.
I always thought Greenland was huge.
It's the power of the Mercator projection.
Wow.
It's so pervasive.
Yeah.
It shaped our perception of the world.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's crazy.
There are other projections, like the Gall-Peters map,
Okay.
which gets the size right,
Right.
but it makes everything look stretched and wonky.
Yeah.
Every map is a compromise,
Right.
a trade-off between accuracy and what's visually practical.
So even with something as seemingly simple as a map,
Yeah.
there's no one right way to see Earth.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really fascinating point
Okay.
about how much we still don't know about our planet.
Oh, you mean the story about the hidden rainforest discovered with Google Earth?
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
Isn't that crazy?
I thought we had mapped every inch of the planet by now.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But there are still vast areas that are relatively unexplored,
Wow.
particularly in remote regions.
Okay.
This rainforest discovery is a perfect example of
Mhm.
how, even with our advanced technology,
Right.
Earth still holds secrets.
It's amazing to think that there are still places on Earth that haven't been fully explored.
It really
It's
is.
like there's a whole other world. Yeah. Hidden within the one we know.
Absolutely. What's really fascinating about this rainforest discovery is like what it tells us about biodiversity.
Okay.
The fact that they found new species there
Right.
means there's still so much life on Earth that we haven't even like encountered yet.
Okay, so how many species are we talking? I mean, surely we have a pretty good handle on like how many types of plants and animals are out there, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But the source material mentions that scientists estimate there could be as many as 8.5 million species on Earth.
Okay.
But we've only identified about 1.5 to 2 million.
Wait, are you serious? That means that there could be millions of creatures out there we know nothing about.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Think about all the potential hidden in those undiscovered species.
Yeah,
New medicines, new sources of food, new insights into how nature works.
that's incredible. It makes you realize how much we still have to learn about our own planet. So much
Yeah.
potential for discovery, it's almost overwhelming.
It's humbling, for sure. And it raises some important questions about conservation.
Okay.
If we don't even know what's out there, how can we protect it?
That's a good point. I mean, we hear all the time about habitat loss and extinction.
Right.
But if there are millions of species we haven't even discovered yet, the
Yeah.
scale of the problem is even bigger than we thought.
It really highlights the urgency of protecting biodiversity,
Yeah.
not just for the sake of the species themselves,
Right.
but for the health of the planet as a whole.
Hmm.
Each species plays a role in the ecosystem,
Right.
and losing even one can have like a ripple effect.
This whole idea of undiscovered species really shifts the way I see Earth. It's
Wow.
like suddenly realizing that the world is even bigger and more complex than you imagined.
And that realization should inspire us to be more curious, more mindful, more dedicated to exploring and understanding the world around us.
Yeah.
It's not just about those far-off images of Earth from space.
Right.
It's about appreciating the intricate details of life right here under our feet.
It's like we've been looking at a puzzle with missing pieces.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see the full picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as we continue to explore and discover, that picture will only become more complex, more beautiful,
Yeah.
and more awe-inspiring.
It's funny, we started this deep dive talking about what Earth looks like from space.
Right.
But now I feel like we've zoomed way in,
Yeah.
almost to like a microscopic level.
Totally.
Seeing those hidden rainforests.
Yeah.
Realizing there are potentially millions of undiscovered species.
Right.
It changes your whole perspective.
It's like we've been so focused on the broad strokes of the painting,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're starting to appreciate those individual brush strokes,
Yeah.
the intricate details that like make up the whole.
Exactly. And this Vsauce video wasn't just about those aha moments, right?
Right.
It also made me think about our responsibility to protect all this incredible diversity we've been talking about.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
I think awareness is the first step. Once you understand the complexity and the interconnectedness of life on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
you can't help but feel a sense of responsibility for its well-being.
I think that's what struck me about the rainforest discovery.
Yeah.
You know, we often hear about the threats to an Amazon rainforest,
Mhm.
but like discovering an entirely new rainforest,
Right.
it highlights how much we still have to lose,
It's a stark reminder that we can't take our planet for granted.
right?
We have to be mindful
Yeah.
of the impact our actions have on the
Mhm.
environment, on biodiversity, on the delicate balance of ecosystems.
Yeah. It can feel overwhelming though, right? Like
Sure.
what can one person really do
Yeah.
to make a difference against such huge problems?
Well, it's true the challenges are significant,
Yeah.
but I think this deep dive shows us that individual actions do matter.
Oh.
Every choice we make,
Yeah.
what we buy, how we travel, how we use energy,
Right.
it all has an impact.
So it's not just about the grand gestures.
Right.
It's about making more sustainable choices
Exactly.
in our everyday lives.
Absolutely. Supporting businesses that prioritize sustainability,
Okay.
reducing our carbon footprint, advocating for policies that protect the environment.
Mm-hmm.
These are all ways that we can contribute to a healthier planet.
I think this deep dive has also highlighted the importance of sharing knowledge.
Absolutely.
The more people understand about the wonders and fragility of Earth,
Yeah.
the more likely they are to take action to protect it.
Couldn't agree more. Education and awareness are essential.
Yeah.
It's about inspiring others to see the world with new eyes,
Right.
to appreciate the interconnectedness
Huh.
of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and to understand that we're all part of the solution.
So as we wrap up this exploration of what Earth really looks like,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener with a question.
Okay.
If we're constantly discovering new things about our own planet,
Right.
what else might we be missing in our everyday lives?
Mhm.
What other perspectives are we overlooking?
That's a fantastic question to ponder. I encourage everyone listening to embrace curiosity, to question assumptions, and to never stop exploring.
Hmm.
There's always more to learn, more to discover, and more to appreciate, both on a global scale and in our own backyards.
And for anyone who wants to keep exploring the ideas we've discussed today,
Yeah.
I highly recommend checking out chromoscope.net,
Oh, yeah.
which lets you see the Milky Way
Right.
in different wavelengths of light.
It's a really amazing tool.
Yeah, it's a mind-blowing experience.
For sure.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.